Yep, so according to these measurements, you're about 24 weeks. 24 weeks? Let's do this. Okay, let's do this, my girl. Let's do this. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I know I have not recorded a video and uploaded a video in so long. I take that back. I have recorded several videos, but I haven't uploaded in so long. But that's not the point today. I really want to come on here and talk about my experience with pregnancy. The pregnancy got me, y'all. The pregnancy got me. It caught me. I thought it wasn't gonna be me, but it caught me. So I want to talk about my pregnancy journey because not only did I get pregnant, but I didn't find out that I was pregnant until I was 6 months. Yes, you heard me correctly, 6 months. I found out at 24 weeks that I was pregnant. So I want to tell you about just kind of like my journey and how did we go so long without even knowing. So a couple of disclaimers I do want to say. Firstly, I have PCOS, and secondly, this wasn't my first pregnancy. This was my first successful pregnancy, but it wasn't my first pregnancy. So I'm going to be just kind of referencing those two as we go forward onto this video. So yeah, 2022 was a crazy year in general before I even found out that I had her. But I was just living my lovely little life, you know, just chilling and everything like that in the nature, and just trying to figure out where I was in life in general before I found out that I was going to become a mom and have a daughter. She's right over there. So I did not even have the regular pregnancy symptoms that people look out for, say, hey, you're pregnant. Now the biggest thing was I didn't have a period for 6 months. So that is a red flag on its own. But I have PCOS and I have gone months without having a period before. So even though it was 6 months, it wasn't a huge red flag to me because I've gone months without a period before. So honestly, the whole time I was saying that I wasn't, because if I were to tell you how many pregnancy scares I've had before this, yeah. So this was the one time I was telling myself, like, nah, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, this ain't it. Calm down. You're good. It's like, but yeah, so going through just a little flashback at the time that before I found out I was pregnant, firstly, I did not show at all. I did not actually start showing until after I found out. And I'm going to insert those pictures throughout this video somewhere. Maybe right now, I don't even remember. But I did not have a belly. If anything, I had like a little pudge. And like up until I found out I was pregnant, I was working out. I was working out because I thought I was getting fluffy. I was getting a little chunky. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, I need to get it together. You know, I've lost weight before. We can do this again. I'm in the same mindset. And the one thing that was bothering me the most was my belly because I had a pudge. Now, I ain't never had a flat stomach, but usually my stomach is more on the flatter side. So, like, I just had this little pudge on me that I just could not shake. And normally when I work out, I can, you know, slim my little pudge down if my belly gets pudgy. So I just could not shake it for nothing. And I was really working out. I know, good. I know. Yeah. You just hungry, mama? And just a preference, when I was diagnosed with PCOS, I was actually diagnosed about like 3-4 months before my first pregnancy. And again, that pregnancy unfortunately ended in a miscarriage. But with that pregnancy, I had symptoms. I found out at like 8 weeks that I was pregnant. And back then I thought that that was a long time to find out that you were pregnant compared to 24 weeks. But I had symptoms. I didn't necessarily have morning sickness, like throwing up morning sickness, but it was one day when I was just really sick and I thought it was food poisoning, but I knew that it wasn't because that day the day before my family cooked and I ate what my family cooked and nobody else was sick but me. So I was like, that's weird. I couldn't stand the smell of garlic. I was tired. There was one day I was eating some type of pizza and I couldn't eat it because I couldn't stand the smell of it. Like those types of pregnancy symptoms, those that I had none of that here at all. So not having my period and then also not having pregnancy symptoms just didn't send the biggest red flag to me. Just to be honest, like there were times where I'm like, maybe I am, but I was like, nah, I brushed it off. I'm like, we've been on this road too many times. Just chill out, chill. So about a few weeks before I found out that I was even pregnant, the crazy thing is, like, I was living life, okay? Living life like an adult person would live, that is not pregnant. You get what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know, I didn't do a lot of partying. I didn't do a lot of drinking, but those elements were definitely there. Just gonna be honest. Just gotta be honest. Honesty is the best policy. So I gotta be honest. And honestly, two or 3 weeks before I found out I was pregnant, I think it was 2 weeks actually, it was my husband's birthday and we went down to New Orleans, and look at some of it up there. Insert the pictures. Yeah, I didn't have a belly. I had a little pudge, but it wasn't nothing to say, hey, you're pregnant. I didn't have any symptoms. Like I said, I only threw up one time my whole entire pregnancy, and that was justified. I saw somebody else throw up, and it made me throw up. And if you like one of those people, I'm just like that. Like, if I see somebody else throw up, it's gonna make me want to gag and throw up. And just thinking about that day, it still makes me want to like gag. Anyway, moving on. Real quick, because I'm in the middle of editing, but it was a lot of things that I wanted to say, but here's one thing I really forgot to say. So again, a couple weeks before I found out I was pregnant, it was Easter weekend. I will never forget. I was visiting my parents, and it was the day I was leaving my parents' house. I was going back to my house, and my mom looked at me and she said, "Is there a bun in the oven?" Y'all, I was so offended. I was like, why would you say that? Like, I was like so mad. But in reality, I was really just super insecure about my belly, especially that weekend, because that weekend was a very eventful week. Like, it was a lot of things going on that weekend on top of Easter. And so I was very insecure about my belly. I was very insecure because you could see the pudge. Like, it was hard to hide as far as a pudge. Like, I looked frumpy and I didn't like it. So when she told me that, it upset me so bad. But in reality, I was pregnant. So, yeah. Mamas be knowing. They be knowing. Alright, back to the video. So the way that I actually found out that I was pregnant is the craziest thing. Because I was scrolling on TikTok and I stopped and I saw this TikTok, and it was, you know, a lady talking about, you know, watching her husband become a girl mom. And it was the cutest video ever, y'all. And I cried. I cried watching it because I literally was watching it and was like, I want to make my husband a girl mom, and I want to have those moments with my husband. Again, I didn't, not knowing that I'm pregnant, how far I was pregnant, but it was so emotional. And I'm kind of like tearing up thinking about it because like, that first pregnancy and that first loss hit really hard, and this all happened a year after I lost my first child, so I'm getting a little emotional. But yeah, so I'm just watching the TikTok and everything, like, oh, like, I want to be able to give this to my husband, and I ended up praying, y'all. I would pray to God. I said, and in the prayer, I was like, one day, probably not right now. One day, probably right now, but I prayed to, you know, be able to have children. Yeah, girl. Have kids, girl. And be able to experience that with my husband. Like, I really prayed about that. And so I'm crying and I'm praying. And mid-prayer, my nipple leaks. Mid-prayer, my nipple leaks. And I'm like, huh? So, I don't even think I concluded the prayer. I'm sorry, girl. I'm just, if I didn't, because I don't think I concluded. I think I interrupted the prayer. I don't think I even came back to the prayer after that. It's just so crazy, y'all. So life's so crazy. God has a sense of humor, y'all. I'm so serious. But yes, nipple leak mid prayer. I stopped completely after that, and I was like, whoa. So then I started going on Google, searching what could be the reason like a nipple leak. And so, my first thought is pregnancy, and I'm like, at this point, I'm like, okay, that could lead to pregnancy. But if I'm not pregnant, then we have some bigger issues. I don't know what's going on. So like, I'm really kind of scared at this point. So I text my husband and I tell him what happened, and he's like, "Oh snap!" He didn't know what to say. He was confused, and I was like, "I'm gonna go buy a test tomorrow." So the next day, go to Walgreens, get a pregnancy test. I only bought 1 pack. I wasn't buying 5, 6, and 7 packs of pregnancy tests. All I needed was 1 test, and that was enough for me to know. And so I bought the test and I took it, and sure enough, not even the full, you gotta wait like 3 to 5 minutes. No, that thing said pregnant in 30 seconds. And I knew. I said, here we go. Here we go again. And if I'm gonna be so honest with you, I was very anxious. After that, I was very anxious because I was like, I didn't know what I was going to walk into knowing that. I don't know how far along I was, knowing like that I hadn't had a period so long, this and that. I was really just anxious and nervous of what I was going to find out when I went to the doctor. I found a doctor pretty quickly actually. And so probably about the next week after I took that pregnancy test, I had my first doctor's appointment. So I'm going in there, they're going to ask you, when's your last period, this and that. So I'm telling them, my last period was back in November. And I'm like, that would say I'll be about 6 months. And I don't look 6 months pregnant, so I don't think that's what it is, So sure enough, they do the ultrasound. They actually try to do the trans vag, because typically they do that. Yeah, mama. Typically they do that one when you're a little far early on. Tried it. Boom, all of a sudden they said, oh no, there's a whole baby in here. And there's a big head. Like, they were like, no, it's a whole baby in here. So they had to do the regular ultrasound. I was like, what? So they're scanning and they're showing me everything. And they're like, yep, so according to these measurements, you're about 24 weeks. 24 weeks? Oh my gosh. I was like, what? I was shook. The nurses was shook. The technician was shook. The other nurse after that was shook. Like, I was too stunned to speak. I'm still stunned thinking about it. So yes, they're like, you're about 24 weeks. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, Lord, I will never forget that day. And the craziest part about that, I'll never forget either, while they were doing the ultrasound, my baby was kicking. And I saw my baby kicking on the screen, and I felt what that felt like to me. And I was like, wait, that's her kicking? If I could say that I had any type of pregnancy symptoms, I did get like a little sick towards the beginning, but around that time it was cold. It was kind of like everything that I had that actually ended up being a pregnancy symptom was just justified in the moment and the nature of it. It's like I got a little sick, not like throw up sick or anything. It was more like flu sick, and it was cold and rainy like around that time, so it was justified. Another thing was with her kicks. I thought what I was feeling with her kicks, I thought it was like trapped gas. I thought it was just gassy, because if I did know anything, I knew that I was kind of like constipated, TMI. I just thought that it was gas. I thought it was my stomach rumbling. Every time I felt the kick, I just thought it was gas. And then another thing that I did actually feel, now it's probably a month before I found out I was pregnant, my stomach felt stretched. Like, it felt stretched. Like, A, I couldn't eat things. I would get full super fast. And then B, my stomach felt stretched. And I attributed to my stomach feeling stretched to working out. Because I was working out. I was doing ab workout. Like I said, I was really trying to get that stomach down. So I was working out, and I thought that I was just doing too much. I never forget, I was walking one day, and I just felt the stretchiness of my stomach, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm doing too much. Like, it was uncomfortable, and so I was like, maybe I need to chill out and, you know, like, calm it down or whatever. And so I'll never forget, I was telling them this in the doctor's office. I was like, yeah, you know, they asked me like, how did I not know for this long? I'm like, I didn't really have any symptoms, and I told them that I remember feeling my stomach feeling stretched, and they was like, yeah, that was your uterus stretching to make more room. Crazy. So yeah, that was pretty much the day that I found out I was pregnant. So of course, me being so far along, a lot of things had to be done in a very short amount of time. And so at that point, after I found out I was pregnant, I was like concerned as far as, is my baby healthy? Am I healthy? Like, things of that nature, because knowing what the first time that it happened, I never got an explanation as to why that loss was a loss. So I'm like, am I gonna be okay? Is she gonna be okay? It's before I found out it was a girl, but you know, the baby was gonna be okay, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, so my next appointment, we had to do all the tests that you would do in the long span of the time of your pregnancy, like the sugar test, the genetics test, and just all that type of stuff that you do slowly in a span. I had to do all in like one. What's the name? But when those results finally came back, found out that I had a girl, I did do a gender reveal, so I didn't look at the results. I gave them to my friend, my sister. I said, y'all figured out we did do a gender reveal. And I found out I was having a girl. Oh my God. I cried. I found out I was having a girl because I was going to have a boy. Like, here and there, it really didn't matter what I was having. I just wanted to have a healthy baby, period. But I was like, I just thought I was having a boy, like, just because it was so easy going. You know, normally people say like girls are harder for people when they have their pregnancies, but I'm starting to find out that it could be the opposite, and it could be nothing, either or. But I literally did not start showing until I found out I was pregnant. Like, the brain is so crazy, because sometimes like the brain and the body don't connect and don't know what's going on. The body will continue to do things and on its own, but once the brain finds out what's going on, it isn't until then when the body's like, okay, let's say it out loud that this is what's going on. Like, this has been going on the whole time, but the brain doesn't know, so we're not gonna really just show. But then when the brain finds out, it's like, okay, yeah, you're pregnant. Literally, probably a couple weeks after that appointment, I started having actual belly. And I'm gonna insert some clips throughout this video if I haven't already. I'm just really just talking off my head. I said I was gonna do a script, like I said before. I'm really just talking off my head. But yeah, so I had a healthy baby girl. I had a healthy uterus, this and that, and it was really a chill pregnancy. It was a chill pregnancy. I didn't have back issues. I walked and worked everywhere. I didn't have to be on bed rest, none of that. Like, I really was just moving and grooving until this baby girl came. And it was just such a blessing, though, at the end, because to say that me and my husband pretty much only had 3 months to get our whole entire lives together, say that we're gonna have a baby and get all this stuff, like, we just have such a support system when it came to her baby girl, and she is so blessed, because just being here and just being here, I say this all the time to her, that she is blessed, and then we are so blessed because like 90% of the things that we have for baby girl was given to us, from gifts to this or that. Like, we just had so much support for her, and it just is such a beautiful thing, because if y'all just only would have known what was going on in the beginning part of the year. It was just such a drastic change. It was so beautiful, and I'm just like, God really carried both of us during this pregnancy. God was like, I know what you're going through right now, so I'm not gonna tell you what's going on. I need you to get through what you're going through, and then I'm gonna let you know. But I got you, and I got her, and it's just a beautiful thing. And she is like one of the many testaments that I have, because God really has been working in my life. He has always been working in my life. I've been so blessed by him, y'all. Oh, it's just so many blessings, and she's just one of those. And so, but yes, that's how I found out I was pregnant. I am gonna do another story for my labor and delivery specifically. So this is just gonna be my pregnancy journey. Yeah, I did have a gender reveal. I had a baby shower. I also took a couple maternity shoots, and did all the little fun stuff that I could do when I found I was pregnant. But by the end of it, I was definitely big pregnant. So seeing how I looked from 0 to 6 months, from then to 6 to 9 months was a completely different thing. Just know that it's possible, okay? It's possible. Anything is possible, okay? Anything is possible with God. Anything is possible, okay? Don't never say never. Just never underestimate it, because no matter what you may not think might not happen, it very well can be. So if you made it to the end of this video, I thank you so much. Please like, comment, share this video, because this is just a crazy story and people need to know that this is really more common than it may seem. Not to scare anybody, okay? But just know that anything's possible. Also, comment down below if you guys had a similar pregnancy story. I would love to know, or just what your pregnancy story or your pregnancy journey was like. I would honestly love to know. And yes, that's it. Love you guys. Have a good one. Boop, 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 boop. Hey.